Rocky Mountain music fills my memory. Rocky Mountain music.
Hello and welcome to the Denver and Rio Grande Western Iron Horse Route. My name is Brian. It's good to have you here. If you haven't already, I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe and click the bell icon so you can be alerted to future uploads. Now settle in for today's video next. Hey everybody, happy Friday and welcome to the Denver and Rio Grande Western Iron Horse Route. This is part 7 of my July scenery series where I'm adding a waterfall to my N-scale model railroad layout using Woodland Scenics water effects products. Stick around, that's all coming up right now. As I mentioned before, this is part 7 of my July scenery series. So if you haven't seen any of the other parts in this series, I want to encourage you to go ahead and follow the card right here, right now. It's coming up in the top left corner of your screen and watch the playlist in its entirety. As I said, this is part 7. In part 1, I laid some foam. In part 2, I carved the foam. In part 3, I prepared the creek bed for paint. In part 4, I painted the creek bed. In part 5, I poured 600 plus grams of Woodland Scenics clear pour water down a 7% grade. That's an awesome video. In part 6, I added the water effects, the rapids and whatnot, to the top of my clear pour water in the creek. And here we are, part 7, and we're doing the waterfall right now. See, just carving everything out, just like I did the creek bed in the Great Stuff foam. And stick around, watch the rest of it with me. I'm going to do a voiceover and walk you through what happened and how it went. I think it turned out great, y'all.
As I've mentioned before, I've been very pleased with the Woodland Scenics products as a whole in general. They're just quality. All I did was carve out a path through the top of the mountain that had been there previously and pointed it down towards where the sawmill's going to be. Here I just, that is an experiment actually, not the waterfall that I actually ended up using. I actually put that one in the oven on 250 and baked it. And the problem that occurred is it did dry, and it dried much quicker, but it dried a little yellow instead of clear. I did a much smaller version and followed the instructions. Put a light amount on that paper and let it dry for about 24 hours. Pulled up a nice looking little waterfall that you'll see coming up in a little while. Right now adding water ripples. If you've seen my other videos, you do know that water ripples is basically the same product as clear pour water, about twice as thick. And so it lends itself well. I actually put a pour of clear pour through there, and it was pretty much unnoticeable. You can see a little bit of it there. But the ripples coming in here, they still actually flow pretty well. If you can see it coming over that little rock and down right there, the ripples, gravity will still make them flow, particularly a grade like that. Now the waves that are coming up later are not the case. So all I did is once the ripples had been on for 15-20 minutes, I just came through and tried to kind of emulate what gravity would do to moving water coming through there. I didn't know that I'm going to have waves coming up over the top of that, but in the previous creek, when I did the creek, I kind of did every layer like it should have been, and then even though I covered it, and I think I came up with a good product as a result. So as you can see, the little clear pour water that I did pour through there and the ripples have all actually run down themselves and created a little waterfall, which is great because that gives the impression of the water cascading down at the bottom, and that will be under the actual waterfall that's on the parchment paper right now, or the butcher paper. And here come the waves. The waves are again twice as thick as the ripples. So you got clear pour water, and then ripples, which are twice as thick, and then waves, which are twice as thick as that. Waves don't really budge a whole lot. They are great for emulating where the water would hit a rocky section and make a kind of splash. So as you can see, where I'm kind of focusing the product are on the areas that the water would bang against the sides kind of deal, and then just kind of get it give it the impression of a faster moving water up top with a less clear and a little more opaque look. And that less clear opaque look is actually finalized with the Waterfall Effects product, and I'll show you that in just a sec. The Waterfall Effects product continues to dry to this day, post a week in the creek, and continues to look better every day. It really does. I'm not complaining it's still drying, because it just keeps getting better looking, in my opinion. I guess I could be biased. Pleased with the product. Appreciative of the help I received as well from you guys in putting this together. Here we go. We are pulling the Waterfall off of the butcher paper, the wax paper, whatever you want to call it, non-stick paper. And that was a very thin, much smaller version. And I did try to put a kind of clump at the top where I could hold it and use that to kind of glue it into place. All I did was use the Water Effects Waterfall product over the top that came over it to adhere it at the top and some at the bottom a little bit where it actually touched. You'll see that coming up here in just a sec. But water effects coming in. This is just like I did in the creek, y'all. I got nice looking water. I got nice clear water running through there. And here I go again. I'm fixing to put a bunch of white stuff over the top. And as we know, this white stuff will eventually dry. It is a little nerving and can create some anxiety because you do put it over a lot of good work. But man, it only puts an exclamation point at the top, in my opinion. It's a good product. I seriously focused the heavier portions of this in areas that would splash, because wherever you got the heavier portions of this product that's not clear, the more of this product you have, the less clear and the more opaque you're gonna get. Opaque is great if you're emulating moving or quickly moving water that's hitting the sides of rocks and other things like that. So where water would actually come together and make more of a boil or bubble or splash is where I focus the heavier portions of this product. The rest I actually try to get pretty thin and flat, so it'll dry clear, and the opaque part is very small. And when it's just slightly opaque, it looks really good. You can see the clear water in the bottom even under it, but it does emulate the water moving because the top is not quite so clear. And we'll see more of that here in just a sec. All I'm doing now, I actually stuck that under there because I wanted to kind of the waterfall to shape a little differently than it was falling. And really, in truth be known though, gravity is probably the most perfect measurement or ruler in this case. And so after an hour or so, I did go ahead and pull that out and let it fall as it may. Again, it takes this product a long time to dry, but you can see over there in the creek, you know, that creek was totally covered in white down there at one point. And now you're only seeing the opaque areas where the product was heavier. And that's the same thing you're going to see with this right here. Man, when this dries, it looks good. Look there. Wow. Sure wish I had that bet. That's the next. It's coming up soon, y'all. I gotta put me a sawmill with a water wheel right there, just to put the finishing touches on this project. Excuse me. But as you can see, that was all covered in that white product at one point. Most is dried, perfectly clear now, or slightly opaque, just a little bit, give the impression of moving water. You can see the areas where water would have bunched up, splashed together, hit rocks, and those are showing heavier white areas. Here we have cascade splashing. And actually, I kind of wish that dried a little more clear than I would have liked even. I might go back over that area in video 8 when I'm painting and see if I can't, because it dried up a little more clear even than I thought I was hoping for, giving a less impression of the water moving so quickly.
Alright, so as I scroll through the final shot for you today, showing you the results after the 7 parts of this series, I think that the creek bed and the waterfall look fantastic. Part 8 is going to be coming up soon, and all I'm really going to be doing in there is I'm going to be doing a lot of fine-tuned painting. I'm going to be doing some dry brushing on the creek bed and the waterfall to make it really pop out and look great. I hope to see y'all then. I need one more thing from you. If you haven't already, I need you to click right here, or click here, or here, or here, anywhere to stick around. Just stick around.